So a few months ago, I was basically ready to put a ring on a set of Pirelli Cinturato Gravel M tires and elope with them. I really did love them that much. And a few months on, I've put a bunch more kilometers on them and I wanted to do a follow-up video about how they've gone. Typically, I tend to test tires over about 800 kilometers and then do a review because you get a good sense of how the tires are to ride and how they wear. And because I've had a lot of review tires recently, I will take the tires off, give them to a friend who needs a set of tires, and then shift on the next one. But because of all of these supply chain disruptions, tires have been hard to come by. So this tire has now done about 2,200 kilometers. So I can give you an idea of what they're like long term. And that is what this video is about and why I still consider these my favorite all-time tire. So let's jump into it with a quick recap of my full review. No need to mince words, grip was fantastic. One of the best and most usable all-round gravel tires I've ridden. Tubeless setup was easy. Punctures were zero. And by the 800 kilometer mark, there was barely any wear on them at all. Really, the only criticism is a little bit of vagueness when you're on tarmac corners because of the tread pattern, and the stiff sidewalls meant it could be a little bit uncomfortable if you had too much pressure in them. Other than that, they're just bloody fantastic tires. So several months later, and now at about 2,200 kilometers, I can report that the tires are still in really impressive condition. Here is a look at the tread depth on the front. There is still a ton of meat left on there. It is quite remarkable. And at the back, we are still looking at a decent amount of tread. There are gravel tires that start their life with less tread than is on this rear tire right now after 2,200 kilometers. And they haven't all been off-road. I've used this on plenty of mixed terrain rides and I've done plenty of commutes on it as well. They have just become the all-round tire that I use for everything. What about their reliability and puncture-proofness? Surely after 1,400 extra Ks, they'd start showing signs of weakness, right? Well, no, not really. They've been so reliable that I was only aware of a single puncture that managed to get through because I rode past a building site and a nail just went straight into the tire that I had to pull out before it sealed. After I took them off and had a close look at them, there was only one obvious puncture point in one of the tires, again where a small piece of metal had managed to pierce through, but that one I didn't even realize it had happened. It just sealed up super quickly. We really are spoiled for choice with excellent gravel tires nowadays, and I've been very lucky to test quite a lot of them in a short amount of time, but there's a very good reason why these ones stick with me. Let me explain why. Now, it's all well and good for me to come back and say that these tires are in fact very good. I've already said it once, but there's something more important, I think, going on here, and that is the nature of grip in gravel tires. A lot of people are coming to gravel via road biking, and they are typically falling towards the faster rolling end of the tire spectrum because they're roadies and that's kind of what they do. I'm not judging at all. That was me as well. I came from road to gravel and I was always sort of looking for ways to be quicker. But over time, what I've really come to value more is grip, because grip is always useful. You're not really going to crash because you've got too much grip, but not having enough of it can be a real pain in the butt. Ultimately, more grip means more riding options, and the only real drawback is maybe a little bit more rolling resistance on the tarmac, and I think that is a more than worthy trade-off to make. And having tested a lot of tires, so much of it is about your speed perception anyway. Once you've gotten used to a tire, you don't really worry about if you're wasting a few extra watts on the tarmac because you're having such a great time off-road. The next thing I want to talk about is price, because we are seeing a shift in the market. We're no longer in the days where a Schwab G1 or a Panaracer Gravel King SK could be found for around $50. It is a very different market, our supply chains are very different, and this Pirelli Cinturato Gravel M will cost you $100. That feels like a fair bit of money because we are kind of used to the before times, but that's not the reality now. $100 for a tire that lasts and performs this well, to me, is really good value. So as it stands today, these are my favorite gravel tires. I fully reserve the right to revise that in future if I use a better set of tires, but as it stands today, if I had to use just one, this would still be it. You may be curious as to what's coming next though. It is a pair of Gravel King SS tires, which is completely philosophically different from these ones, with a much smoother center tread, more focused on rolling quickly. So we'll see how well I adjust to those after being on a pair that I love so very much. And that really is everything for this quick update video. Thank you so much for watching as always. Ride safe, stay healthy, and I will see you next time.